My fraternal greetings to all of you. As almost all of you are fully aware, the Ohaneze Ndibo has elected a new President General in the person of Senator John Mbata Azuta, who happens to hail from Obiakpo local government area of Rivers State. Some of you know why I'm laughing now. Obiakpo local government area is the local government in which Nyesom Wike hails from. And Senator John Azuta Mbata is the political godfather of Nyesom Wike. In other words, we can say that Nyesom Wike is the political godson of Senator John Azuta Mbata. Now I want to ask Nyesom Wike, Your Excellency or Your Dishonorable, where will I keep your shame? Or where will you hide your face? Do you know the reason why I'm asking this? I am asking this because you had once claimed that you are not Igbo, that you originated or you hailed from Benin. So how are we going to, ameliorate this discrepancy? What do we do from here? Nyesom Wike, I am ashamed of you. A lot of you are aware of the video I released on the 13th of January 2024, in which I blasted Nyesom Wike very well in that video, calling him a fool, a foolish elder. Today, with the election of the President General of Ohaneze Ndibo from Rivers State, and in the same local government in which Wike hails from, has vindicated me. You can now see what I've been telling all of you, that some elders are not elders. If you follow them, you are going to fall into a deep pit. If you are a man without integrity from your youth life, that is how you are going to grow up with it. You see. And that is why I tell you that, look, this generation, we're not going to take whatever we hear from elders as the truth or as facts. We must first and foremost look at the life of that elder, the life he had lived, his integrity, his principle that defines him, before we can now say, okay, yes, what such a person said, was right or was wrong. You see, I've been telling all of you that, look, history is something we hold so dear in our hearts as a people. And it must be something that must be studied. It must be a cause that must be studied or upheld so dear in our hearts. And I said it here clearly, that if Biafra comes by the grace of God, which it will, history is not something we are going to joke with. It will be never something that we will joke with. In fact, if you fail history as a course in any Biafra institution, you are going nowhere. That is because we want you to know who you are and know who your ancestors were, where you originated from, and your true identity anywhere. Because your identity defines you in everything you do. That's the fact about it. Why did I say that history is something that must be studied? This is because without history, generations after generations may continue to be victims of human injustice and cruelty without comprehending why, without understanding why, and will not be able to put an end or punctuate the victimization confronting them. That is why you must know history. I've always been telling my friends that between history and geography, whenever they ask me which one would I prefer, I always tell them that geography might displace you, but history will situate you properly. History will place you where you are. Look at the case of Nigeria today, where they splitted the Igbos into Benue, into Kogi. Now you have what we call the Igbo Arewa. Igbo Arewa. Can you imagine that? Igbo Northerners. That is Nigeria for you. They split them into Benue, carved them out from Enugu, you see, and put them into Benue states. Not that they are migrants in their own, they carved their ancestral land, carved them into wherever they created states like that, cutting people haphazardly into wherever you fall into, that is where you come from. You see, they carved them into Benue, carved them into Kogi State, carved them into Bayelsa, carved them into Akwa Ibom, Cross River, Edo, keep talking about it like that in that way. That is Nigeria for you. And that's why they keep creating problems all over the country. Restiveness everywhere. That is because Nigeria is a dubious entity. I told all of you that a lot of things have happened in that zoo you call Nigeria. So much lies. Everything about Nigeria is scam. Lies upon lies and everything you're talking about. Just name it. Nigeria is nothing but a very big scam. You see. And that is why for the zoo not to allow you to know whom you are or who you are, they decided to expunge history from the educational curriculum. So I don't know who you are. That's the fact about it. And this brings me to reminiscence or to reminisce what that great scholar, Babs Fafunwa, I think the Minister of Education in the Babangida's government, he said something very great and which I always admire. He said that history teaching is perhaps one of the disciplines most jealously guarded by educators the world over. And that's the fact about it. You see, what would history do? History would broaden your vision to be able to appreciate the interconnectedness or the interrelatedness of groups rather than accepting existing artificial demarcations as normal. In the case we see in Nigeria, with history, you know who you are, irrespective of how they have dichotomized us into different territories everywhere. Understand? The only thing that will bring us together, that would not permit them to fragment us in order to annex us, is one thing: history. And that's what binds us all over. Whether you're from Ndoki, whether you're from Ndoki, where I come from, a proud son of Ndoki, whether you're from Ndoni, whether you're from Ngwa, whether you are from Ekpeye, whether you're from Popo, whether you're from Iche, whether you're from Ikwere, whether you're from Ahoda, all of us are nothing but just one people. One people. You see, that this little boy who normally comes on social media to talk rubbish, I think it's Rudolph or whatever they call him. I do not know where he will place his head today. You see, I do not know where that boy will place his head today. I think, let him be on the run, we are going to grab him. You see, I do not know why I'll be proud to say I'm from Benin when I am not from there. Understand? Just, I deny my identity. And I want all of you to know this today. Any person who denies his identity does not have integrity. I'll repeat. Whoever denies his identity does not have integrity. That person is as useless as a son who sold his father's compound with his father's grave to an outsider. It's as useless as that. That's the fact about it. A compound that nurtured you, everything about you. Your late father died, you sold his compound with his grave. You sold everything about it to an outsider. A person who denies his identity is as useless as such a person. You see, who were you before the Civil War? Understand? After the Civil War, a lot of things changed. You all suddenly telling us rubbish and junks. You see, this time around, we've told you that whatever you do on social media will be used either for you or against you in this life. And that is why we are very, very careful here of what we do and what we say. That's the fact about it. We don't come here to talk nonsense. We are coming here to stake the identity of our people. Yes, I may not be rich, but I cannot be bought. Mark it clearly today. I cannot be bought to betray my people, to sell my people. There is no amount of money. You are not even rich to buy me to sell my people, because I know what it means. Anybody betrays his fatherland, understand, his father's bone will never accept him. That was how I was brought up. You see, all of these junks we keep on hearing today, I want to tell all those idiots, let them go and read the Willings reports of 1958 and then understand that almost all the people who live there, 98% of them are Igbo and then speak one language. It's one language but different dialect. It doesn't make a different people. We are one people and must hold our bond. If you don't do that, Nigeria is looking for a way to fragment us in order to annex us, to subjugate us, repress us, and all of that. But if we know ourselves and hold ourselves so dear and very strong, there is nothing anybody can do. We're talking about a population of over 90 million people. We are very, very powerful people. We don't beg you to become Igbo. Understand? We have the best of brains anywhere, in academics, in science, in culture, music, arts,